So the new plan that they're trying to roll out to get rid of nuclear waste, spent fuel, anything that's hot and radioactive, is to drill a borehole about 3 feet wide and then line it with concrete and then just dump the stuff down the hole and cover it up. Out of sight, out of mind, right? They say that they have the technology to melt granite over the top of the hole and then let it solidify so that the stuff can't get out the top. And then the concrete on the side should hold it in, no problem, prevent leaking out into aquifers and to the surrounding rock, no problem. You know, they say that they're going to try this in the United States next year. They're going to drill a test hole. Doesn't say where. And if it is successful, they're going to dispose of the worst stuff at Hanford in Washington State down these holes. And they also want to try this in the United Kingdom. They said that the United Kingdom, 6 boreholes, 5 kilometers deep, could dispose of all the nuclear waste in the United Kingdom. That's what they say. Professor Fergus Gibbs, some sellout from the University of Sheffield, says deep borehole disposal is particularly suitable for high-level nuclear waste, such as spent fuel, where high levels of radioactivity and heat make other alternatives very difficult. He says we need to move this technology forward and get this going because it's just too expensive and too difficult to house the stuff above ground. So he lays out a couple of main points here. Says that deep borehole disposal is a pay-as-you-go kind of thing. It'll only cost a few tens of millions of dollars per borehole, and then once it's down there, we never have to think about it again. I said that part. There's more geological sites suitable, as long as there's a granite layer involved, so that they can melt it and resolidify. Says the borehole could be drilled, filled, and sealed in less than 5 years, compared to infinity that they leave it above the surface. Because of the greater depth, there's greater safety, apparently. Limited environmental impact, does not require a huge site. The holes, like I said, are less than a meter in diameter, can be positioned a few tens of meters apart, and once a borehole is complete, the physical infrastructure on the surface can be removed. I'm sure they'll put like a caution borehole sign somewhere on the premises. And then he admits seismic activity might damage the containers within the borehole and fracture the surrounding rock and disrupt the nearby barriers, but it would not destroy the isolation of the waste or make it possible for radioactivity to reach the surface or any groundwater. Don't even suggest it because that's ridiculous. I said the demonstration borehole in the U.S. will be drilled under 0.5 meter in diameter. The trials will be conducted to ensure waste packages can be inserted into the borehole and recovered if required. The initial results are expected in 2013. So all of this is going to be was presented at the American Nuclear Society's International High-Level Radio Waste Management Conference, which took place April 12th to 16th, which would have ended yesterday. So they have a couple PDFs on this site, which I'll link to, down below this. And I'm just going to read from one paragraph on their PDF. So here's what it says regarding what happened at WIP. In the nuclear industry, whatever happens in one place, especially if it is a negative thing, will have repercussions throughout the industry. The 15 years of success at the waste isolation plant in New Mexico had some positive influences on other repository programs, but that quickly faded away as the news of a minor radiation leak from that repository became known. Locally, support for the repository remained strong due to the communications effort made on the nature of the event, its negligible public health impacts, and the likelihood of a full recovery. Local support was also enhanced by the work of an independent monitoring agency located in Carlsbad that corroborated the claim to continued public safety. It says this panel will include both U.S. and international participants, a bunch of industry shills, basically. So this is the kind of propaganda nonsense that these people are all going to had been spewing at this conference, I'm sure, for the last 4 days. So they're going to move on their itinerary. There were multiple talks and discussions about this borehole thing. So this is going to be the next big push, is throwing this nuclear waste down boreholes and just sealing it up and forgetting about it. And then whatever happens down there happens down there, and we're not worried about it. We're not worried about contamination of aquifers or just the ground itself. We're not worried about any of that stuff. Once it's down there, it's down there. We'll seal it up. It's cheap. We'll remove all the equipment, everything from the top of it, so it just looks like a piece of ground that we have barbed wire fenced, and don't worry about it. Don't ask any questions. We won't tell you anything. Don't worry about it. Nowhere ever do they talk about not producing more of this poison. Nowhere. That's never part of the discussion for some reason. So I just thought I would point this out. This is the new thing, borehole disposal.